I got an answer. Or it doesn't matter. I'll mention it on the fucking podcast.
You sure?
Yep.
Okay.
And it's 53, so it's me.
Yep.
How do you do? We're about to unfold the story of
Ghost of Frankenstein.
My son, would you destroy that which I, your father, dedicated his life to creating? What if it had another brain?
Whose brain?
Your brain.
Power! What good is a brain without eyes to see?
I warned you that you might regret this action.
Well, we've warned you.
You've been warned. Welcome back to Frankenstein Minute, the podcast that dissects the Universal Frankenstein film series minute by minute. I'm Bill Evenson.
And I'm Thom Lang, and for the 300th time,
No way.
you join us for a minute.
We did it.
Yep, we're at 300. We're
Well,
done.
we'll
This
see.
is it.
This is the last
This is
one?
as far as I go.
That could be.
300 minutes. So yes, you join us for minute 53 of 1942's All New Thrills. What can't Elsa do?
Well, wait a minute. It's.
Oh, you have stuff going on?
Well, I was going to say.
You got stuff to talk? Because last week you had nothing.
Oh,
so.
well, this week we do. So
All right.
it's May 23rd. Nothing's going on. May 24th is the Friday. There's also nothing going
Nothing
on.
happened
But this
Friday.
weekend we'll be celebrating the birth of Charles Barton. Who's that again?
He directed Bud Abbott, Lucas.
Oh, right. Yeah. And a dang good job he did too.
Yes, he was considered their best director.
Yeah.
And I probably agree with that.
Well, he
I
did
haven't
the
really-
best one.
He did the best one.
That's
so yeah.
pretty good. That's a good start.
Did he do Hold That Ghost? I don't remember.
I was thinking he did Hold That Ghost, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
Or maybe
remember.
I'm thinking of a different one.
Yeah, anyway.
We're also celebrating the anniversary of the release of The Body Snatcher, released on this day in 1945. You know, I just realized what the date is. I think we're also celebrating the anniversary of the release of Star Wars.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's May 25th.
It's, well, it is because it was released on my sister's birthday.
And you went to it?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I mentioned this. I was 7, and it looked terrible to me.
Oh,
I would watch the commercials on TV and go, this looks like something my dad would like. Because he was
Yeah.
he probably would.
Yeah.
And my parents went to it, and I stayed home and didn't care at all. And then my mom came home and said, you're going to this movie. And she was right, and it changed my life.
My parents didn't see it ever, wouldn't see it ever.
That garbage.
Yep, that wasn't their cup of tea, but yes, I saw it opening night, and
Oh, that's right. We have talked about
yeah.
that.
Charles Barton, going back a little bit,
Yep.
did direct Bud Abbott, Lucas Costello, Meet the Killer, Boris Karloff.
Which I really enjoy.
Yes, Africa Screams, which
Africa
is
Screams is the one I was thinking of.
Mexican Hayride, Bud Abbott, Lucas Costello, Meet Frankenstein, The Noose Hangs High, Wistful Widow of Wagon Gap. I'm going backwards here. But Buck Privates Come Home, The Time of Their Lives,
Oh,
which I really like.
yeah. Love that one.
Yeah.
Dino was raving about it, so we watched it.
Yeah, oh, it's
Remember, I think he said that a good triple feature would be that and the first Topper and
yes.
another one. And we did it, but we did it in 3 days. 'cause
Okay.
Too lazy to do a triple feature.
oh sure, why not? Yeah. But he did not do Hold That Ghost.
Okay. But Time of Their Lives. That's
Time of Their Lives
classic.
is one of my absolute favorite.
Yeah.
And it's one that shows just how good an actor Bud Abbott
I think
really
you've said that
is.
before. Yeah. It might have been on a bonus episode, though. I just remember,
yeah,
I think
maybe.
we actually had this conversation on a bonus
Yeah,
episode.
okay.
We may not have released it. I don't know. Tomorrow, or not tomorrow, but Sunday will be the anniversary of the publication of the book Dracula.
Yeah, well.
And then Monday, we'll celebrate the death of George Zucco,
Oh,
who is in a
House
number of
House of Frankenstein, and then he's in all the Mummy.
He's big in the Mummy series,
Yeah.
and his son went to school with a coworker of mine from 20 years ago.
Is that right?
Like, do you know George? No. I'm sorry. A coworker of mine's wife's uncle was George Zucco.
Oh.
I was like, oh yeah, I actually do know who that is.
Yeah, well, my woman I worked with was her uncle was Edward Van Sloan. We talked.
Oh, that's
about.
right. Yeah,
And
exactly.
I cannot remember her name, which is still drives me
Still
crazy.
drives you nuts.
And I'd
Well,
like to find her. And a girl I went to school with said her great uncles were the Marx Brothers. Now I don't know
oof.
if that's true or not.
That's nice.
And I should have asked her parents, but I didn't.
Yeah. Also, the birth of Vincent Price, on Monday, the
That
27th,
hack.
who was a fantastic addition to movie history.
I love Vincent Price.
And he's
so
also
I always say
great
being-
in the Universal Monsters series.
Yes.
He gets in there under the wire.
Yep.
And he puts in a
Oh,
great performance,
Invisible Man.
and a half, or a performance 0.1 or
Yeah.
01 as
Yeah.
the Invisible Man. I don't know why I'm saying it like that. He appears in Bud Abbott, Lou Costello Meet Frankenstein, and he has one line or two.
He's got a couple.
Two.
And then he's in The Invisible Man Returns, and he's very good.
Yeah, he's
also
ideal
in
that sense
Tower
for
of
that.
London,
Oh, is he?
where Karloff and Rathbone toss him into a vat of wine,
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
All right, well there you go.
which apparently was full of Coca-Cola, and they Karloff and Rathbone kept throwing garbage and stuff in there.
Wow. Wednesday will be the anniversary of the death of one James Whale, who passed away in 1957 in a vat of Coca-Cola.
Otherwise known as his swimming
His
pool.
swimming pool.
You know, and that house was for sale just recently.
Okay.
Did I send that to you?
I don't know.
Or posted somewhere? I don't know.
Listen, I've reached the age that, you probably sent it to me. I don't remember.
Right. But in the real estate, the main photo on the website for is
Oh, I think you did send it to me.
You see the pool is right there in the center of the picture. Like,
Yeah, not very
I don't
in
know.
good
I mean,
taste.
it's a beautiful
Too
house.
soon?
Yeah, it's too soon.
57.
Yep, much too soon. It's
Yeah.
a beautiful house, but that pool being there would not. No, I wouldn't.
You wouldn't swim in the pool?
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah, I don't know if I would either. It's like Did Brian Jones eventually buy that house? Never mind, he died in the swimming pool too. So is anybody
Terry Gilliam, I thought, bought his house or something like that.
Is that true?
Who did it? Somebody bought his
Oh, I thought you were
house.
going to make another someone drowning in a swimming pool joke.
Oh, no.
Well, that is where they filmed,
Jesus Christ.
what is that movie called? With the actress, I'm Ready for My Close-Up,
Sunset Boulevard?
Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah.
And somebody drowned in the pool in that.
Well,
Tommy Lee rented it out for
William-
his kid's party.
William Holden did. And if we're going to go back to Abbott and Costello, Lou's son drowned in their swimming pool.
Oh,
As
God.
he was 1 or 2, he was very young.
God.
And you see,
Honestly, do you remember that Buddy Hackett movie? Buddy Hackett and who was?
it was a
was
Harvey
it Harvey
Korman.
Korman?
Yeah.
I watched that as a kid,
I
and
did
I
too.
think that affected me. So when you're talking about that, it's what I remember.
And he had
Watch, it's probably not even in that movie, but that's
No,
what I
it
remember.
is,
Oh, okay.
It is, yeah.
Well, that's cast rather a gloom over the evening, hasn't it?
On a lighter note, somebody posted a picture of Elvis Presley with Lou Costello
Yeah, I've seen
together,
that.
and
It's,
I thought the
Elvis and-
caption was good. Elvis, Costello.
Elvis and Costello, yeah.
Or Elvis and Costello, I like better actually.
All right, anyway.
So you join us for minute 53, which you probably already said.
Yeah.
What happens in minute 53?
Elsa says she can't, but we
That's
don't.
right. I counted.
And then we don't know what she can't because something catches her attention off screen.
Yeah, it's another one of those moments that it doesn't quite play the best, the amount of time. So she looks and sees something and gasps, and then you see the shadow coming around the door. It's like
He turns too, though.
Sure, it's even worse.
Ludwig turns to
Yeah.
look as well, and then you see.
And then the shadow comes around. It's like, what are you guys looking at or for?
Yeah. It
hasn't happened yet. Yeah.
This big dope comes lumbering in, and the music does not help it.
What did I call him the other day? I was just listening to our podcast.
Were you? I don't.
Slightly dazed idiot or something like that.
I don't listen to this nonsense.
I can't imagine you would. I just completely forgot to post it the other day. I shouldn't admit this, but I woke up. When I said I woke up and my alarm hadn't gone off,
Yeah.
not only had my alarm not gone off, or no, it was just 2 different days, but I got a text from one of our listeners saying, "Hey, I don't normally text you this early, but what happened to the episode?" It was like, oh, people actually care. I better get on that. Anyways, sorry if it was late one day. Just cut all this out.
No, start with that. Move it at the beginning.
I put it on every episode.
Yeah, he's got that goofy oboe music, which you've referenced a few times. I've talked about a few times.
This is an egregious.
And it just makes him look like a bumbling dope.
It's funny because without the music, I think it's actually really effective. So because I was able to have both thoughts. Much like a human with a normal brain, I can hold 2 non-complementary thoughts at the same time.
Yes.
2 contradictory thoughts at the same time. And yes, the music is fucking this up. But it's still, he's really good, and he has a really good presence. And the way it's shot and the way he's built up this angle and what he's
exactly
holding.
where I was going, is that the music does it a huge disservice.
Yes, yeah.
Because it's got that goofy, it's like those later Godzilla movies where it's got that that goofy theme song whenever he appears.
Yeah.
It's funny because Jet was doing it the other day because we've got
The Godzilla
some Godzilla toys.
Yeah.
And he was
Doing that sound?
like, oh, I get it. He's doing that music from Megalon and Hedorah, and yeah.
It's funny because for some reason I don't mind it in Godzilla. It's like just another weird... the way Toho approached Godzilla, pull out all the stops. You can do whatever you want. And music like that makes it into something insane. Whereas here, it just seems to ruin it.
Yeah. Well, I think it works really well in Hedorah or versus the Smog Monster. I think that's how most people know it in the U.S.
Yeah.
He stops lumbering long enough to allow Elsa to react, and then lumbers forward a bit more, offering Chloe up, almost like a
I'm
sacrifice.
sorry, I'm getting stuck on the first thing you said. He lumbers along long enough for Elsa to react?
Yeah.
So, like, in addition to the fact that it was awkward when they look to the door and nothing's happened yet, he has to then...
kind of... pause for her to react.
Yeah, I guess he does.
And then he moves forward a little bit more and offers her up almost like a sacrifice. Like
yeah.
And they're looking at him like, what the hell?
It is odd because it's hard to know what the motivations are. So yeah, either way, he is definitely saying in some capacity, don't worry about it, I'm not gonna kill her.
Yeah.
Because you might see someone might think that.
Yeah.
I'm not kidnapping her to kill her, although that is exactly what he wants to do.
He is, pretty much. Well,
essentially.
Again, it comes down to who will die and who won't by shuffling these brains around like they're playing three-card Monty.
Absolutely.
Find the brain. Whoever has the monster's brain, everyone's a winner.
Well, and where that's concerned then, so say it's me. Say you ask me, okay, well, whose brain would you want in your body if I was going to put someone else's brain in your body? And the answer is, are you fucking out of your mind? That's insane.
That's the stupidest question I've ever heard.
That's it. What kind of asshole do I have to be to say anybody?
Yeah,
you know?
I want mine.
Yeah, mine.
Basically,
mine would be
answer.
number one, and number two is just don't worry about it. Just clear it out. Just scrape it out. Don't worry about it.
Yep. Then he mimes her brain in my head.
That's apparently
taps at her forehead, taps at his.
Yeah, in a really awkward way that I find endearing, which is the kind of thing that Karloff actually would do.
Excelled at.
Because I was just thinking about, because we were talking about Karloff last week, maybe, I don't remember, and some of the stuff he would do
pops up in
conversation, But I think it was in Sun where he the way he puts his arm on Wolf's shoulder is very like he can't quite figure out how to use his arms right. He doesn't articulate his hands always coordinate correctly, and he does that here very well, I think. Yeah, actually. So kudos to Junior.
Like, maybe
Chaney.
Do it like Karloff, would you please?
Yeah, can you do anything like fucking Karloff?
Yeah.
Just notice is that Buster Keaton's pork pie hat on one of your Karloffs over there?
Do.
Nice. Let's take a picture of that, post it on our group.
Okay. Father, what does he want? He want, not it.
Excellent. I'm really glad to hear you say that because I don't think I wrote it down. I forgot to write it down, but this is in this part of the script, and I think in that line actually, she says it
in the script,
and yes, in the script, and the script refers to him as it at some points too. So it's like weird.
Yeah. So prepping for these episodes, I didn't look at the script. I just didn't have time.
Yeah.
But
our listeners can look at the script.
Yeah. Fuck them.
Make a new tier.
Yeah.
Read the script for us, please.
Well, speaking of that, Bear Manor just put out Bride of Frankenstein. They're republishing the old Magic Image. So if anybody
and that's all it is, just a republish of the old.
Yeah, but they're hardcover or paperback now.
But they're not adding any content.
No.
Okay.
But if you don't have it, what I'm saying is if you don't have it,
that was
it's an affordable way to get it now because it
was kind of
$30.
A rare one, yeah.
Yeah, because I've seen it, selling for a couple $100. Whether it's selling for that, it's what people are asking for it. So now you can get it. And I talked to Ben Omart, who runs Bear Manor, and he is doing Sun and Ghost as well. So if you don't have those, you can.
Especially since they're doing Ghost.
Right.
Isn't that a different script?
It's the script from the Crypt. version, yeah. So,
I see.
but he is republishing the
other one too. Okay.
Yes. And then he asked me, he's like, well, are there any I missed? And I said, well, you don't have the Mummy. He's like, oh my gosh, yes. Okay, that'll be next.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. So if you don't have those, you're welcome.
Yeah, that's right. This is our contribution. I say our. Look I've already taken half the credit.
Yeah.
This is Tom's contribution to horror scholarship.
Yep.
You'll get a reprint of something we already have.
Yeah. Well, but if you weren't able to get them in the early 90s, then now is your chance. And, okay, what does he want? And as if it's the most ordinary thing to say in response, I'm going to operate and give him a new brain. Yep. What else would I be doing?
Yeah. All right. Let me catch you up. Yeah. It's real quick.
Yeah.
I'm going to operate to give him a new brain.
Yeah. And again, he says him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He. The next thing he says is he.
Well, yeah, like from my handy supply of brains I have laying around, I'm going to give him a new
yeah, right. Well,
you know all those Tupperware containers in the fridge?
Yeah, when I told you when you were a little kid, do not touch those.
Do not eat those.
Don't. We just had the one fridge. I mean, it's Switzerland in the 30s. Yeah, don't eat the brains.
Don't eat the brains. Come on, it's an ice box too.
Or was she born she was a kid in the 20s, late 20s.
Sure.
Maybe. Don't eat the brains in the 20s.
Yep. He wants the brain of that child.
So what I really love about that is there's every reason to think that when he says, "Oh, casually," let's not forget half insane.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm going to operate to give him a new brain.
Okay.
He wants the brain of that child.
Is there anything sane about that statement at all?
There you go. This is where he's half insane. There's every reason for her, I would think, to think that's the plan. Like he's fine with it.
Yeah.
Like this is what does he want, Father? Well, I'm going to operate to give him a new brain. He wants the brain of that child,
and I'm just going to give it to him.
Yeah, and based on what happens, I think in a second, or maybe it's next week, she thinks that it seems like. So, anyways, well, he couldn't phrase it any worse, is what I wrote. He gives the impression that that's what he's going to do.
Yeah, because I wrote, he wants the brain of that child, and I think I'm just going to give it to him.
I mean,
because he gives no indication otherwise.
Right? Exactly. Yeah.
And at this point, Cloestine interjects like,
I want to go home.
This is not a good idea.
Count me out. Yeah. But I gotta say, in response to our comment from last week from either Will, I don't remember, I think it was Will. I think it was Will, that Cloestine knows the big secret. Cloestine knows that I will die for you. Igor's brain is going to go into the brain of the monster. However, at this point, I would argue, she doesn't know that Ludwig doesn't know.
Right.
For all she knows, that's the plan.
That's the plan.
Yeah. Why would she? What happens here to give her the indication?
Right.
Ludwig, don't do it. It's a big trick.
It's all a trick.
Bomer and Igor cooked up this plan. I mean, she doesn't know it to that level.
No.
So I think it's. I think Will's right. She is a bitch. But no.
And her pleading to go home proves it.
Yeah.
How selfish.
Selfish.
Just selfish.
Selfish little bitch.
Yeah, she doesn't want her brain in Junior's skull almost as much as Igor wants his in that skull. So
yep.
This isn't benefiting anybody but Igor in the long run. It wouldn't have benefited Kettering.
There's one other person that benefits.
Well,
Bomer.
Oh, Bomer?
Bomer just wants to see Ludwig in pain. That's all he wants.
Yeah.
Is just to be like, this is going to be fucking great.
When that brain, yep. When he finds out that's Igor's brain, not Kettering, oh man, this is going to be so fantastic.
And I don't know, maybe the little girl's brain. Who gives a shit? I don't even care.
As long as it's not Kettering.
Hey, I've killed
before.
Who
is the greatest saint that's ever walked the earth.
Yeah, fucking Kettering this, Kettering that. Kettering that. Oh, Dr. Bomer, the great Dr. Bomer. Actually, that's Igor that says that, right?
Yeah.
Great Dr.
Bomer. Dr. Bomer. He fucked up again.
Yep. Okay. Yep.
Also, then Rush as any normal person would.
I think it's charming that it's the lady.
Yeah, well,
her maternal instincts kick in.
Yeah,
in the 40s.
but I think anybody.
Oh, I agree with you.
With any common sense at all at this point would.
I don't know about that. I think.
Wouldn't you? I mean, if you were standing next to this guy,
here's the problem.
I'm putting a new brain in that guy.
Here's the problem with me is that I think I would, and if I was. It's not going to end well. There's nothing I can do about it. If he looked at me funny, I'd fall over. So it's not like I'm going to do anything.
I think I wouldn't rush to the monster to get Cloestine away, but I would turn to Ludwig and what the fuck are you talking about?
Oh, absolutely, that much.
You're going to put her brain. are you really going to do this?
But there's a part of me, the older I get, and maybe you don't have this, where I'm like, maybe just turn around and walk away. This isn't really any of my business.
This isn't my business.
I'm not happy about it either, but I mean,
it's above my
like
pay
one. Oh my
grade.
God, it's like 1:15. I gotta find Eric in the storm.
Above my pay grade. Yeah, she rushes to save. Junior raises his arm to smash at her, then politely waits a beat or two for Ludwig to run up and stop him.
Yeah, that's true. Well,
because he stops in midair.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like he's stopping because he doesn't want to hit her. It's like he's waiting for, because Hardwick is supposed to stop Cheney doing it.
I guess.
I don't know. Waiting for this to play out.
It's so not. That's so not what happens, as you're saying.
Yeah.
That I would disagree, and I don't even think that we're supposed to think that's what's happening. I think it is more like a vaguely threatening gesture. Especially because he takes a step forward and does it.
Yeah.
There's no reason to step forward except to say, stay away.
Whoa.
That is kind of what happens.
Maybe,
you know,
but either way, it's poorly played out.
Yeah, it's not a great moment, but it is a good moment for Ludwig because he at least has one thing he cares about, and that's Elsa. So he steps forward as if to say, you will not, which is nice.
Yeah, but it's all played underwater, as is the rest of it when Cheney lowers his arm and turns away from Ludwig. It's so slow. It's almost like the rehearsal thing he's doing in that Tales of Tomorrow, Frankenstein, where he's like, this is what I'm supposed to do, right?
Yeah.
It's so slow.
I'm in my head, as usual, I'm cooking up a defense, and it's just not bubbling. There's not a lot for me there.
No.
From the script... Oh, here's something I didn't say. Right before right when he does that, stepping forward and making that gesture, this really isn't in keeping with the monster's character, in my opinion. He's like, no, I am going to murder this little girl. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just, at some point, there has to be a breaking point, and now he's slammed Igor behind that door, and now he's threatening Elsa in some manner, whether or not he really believe it. It doesn't really, in my opinion, it's not really in keeping with the monster's character. However, next week I'll have more to say about that. In the script, Frankenstein says, and it says in stage direction, it says, to the monster in a placating tone. He says, she must be prepared for this. Don't worry. Come with me. And then over his shoulder, he commands Elsa, take her in there quickly. So I'm slipping
forward,
into next week, but he actually does say something to the monster that indicates, yeah, great.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, let's do it.
Let's go.
We'll totally do so I just wanted to throw that in.
I
could have thrown it in next week. I didn't know.
That would have helped.
Yeah,
that
I think
would have
so.
helped a lot.
Actually, yes, yeah. In a placating tone, I don't know about because I don't know if there's anything Hardwick can't pull off. It's a placating tone. I think every single word of his that comes out of his mouth is placating tone.
Any more questions, wise ass?
All right, what is that? Are we done?
Yeah.
All right, so let's. It's time for wise ass comments. This is where if you're this is brought to you by Patreon, Patreon.com for all your Patreon needs, where you can subscribe at the $5 a month level, and you're in the wise ass level, and then I'll send you out the clips, and then you watch them. I call them clips. Now we're changing the name of the podcast to Frankenstein Clips. And you watch the minute.
I don't think it needs any setup.
Yeah, that's right. And then it's from Mac and me.
Eric! Like... Eric,
But then, okay, so
nice.
That joke just even intruded on our podcast.
Yeah.
So then you watch them.
So now I'm going to have to find that
comment
and put the audio of that clip in at that
if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I will.
Vincent writes, Janet Ann Gallo giving help me vibes all of The Fly, 1958. Yeah, kind of.
Maybe. I think she's adorable, so
yeah. You're not having it?
I'm going to just...
You don't think Vincent Price is adorable? Isn't that who said... No, it's not Vincent Price in that one.
No, it was David Hedison.
There you go.
Yeah. I don't know. That moment in The Fly always makes me laugh. It always has.
Yeah. It didn't... When you say always has, I saw it as a little kid, and I found it was amazing.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was a little kid, and I thought it was funny.
Oh, well, maybe.
It says a lot about me, maybe. I don't know. More about me than it does the film.
You know, that's the thing, like we were talking about with the Godzilla movies. I wonder if as a kid, the separation didn't need to be there. It could be funny and effective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's why I responded to Bride so much when I first saw it.
Right. Yeah, Bride of Frankenstein and Smog Monster are similar creatures in that way. Like, how do you watch this movie? Is this a joke?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
It is.
Actually, another one that Jackie saw without me, and then we watched it later, I think, or maybe I watched it without her, was Wolf of Wall Street. She said that halfway through, she turned to her friend and said, "Is this supposed to be funny?" I'm like, yeah,
yes, it is. Of course it is. Yeah.
But it's also a nightmare.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, maybe that's just the kind of movies we watch. When it's really effective, you can't tell if it's supposed to be funny or a fucking nightmare.
That's what I really like. Yeah. Something like Brazil.
Yeah.
It's funny,
absolutely.
but it is an absolute nightmare to
Depends on the ending, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah. Still, it works.
Or The Trial. I think is very funny.
Oh God!
In its own way.
That up again, didn't you? The Trial.
Oh,
I still can't believe it.
I still get plates,
you and I,
plates thrown at me because I brought her to see
you
that.
and I still think are the only
won't
two
let me
people
buy
I
the
know that
Blu-ray.
think that movie's great.
She won't let me get the Blu-ray.
What,
that
is it
came
on?
out. It came out of Criterion. Put it out.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Did I get that? I probably did.
She's like, no, you're not going to get that. I'm like, well, I'm not going to make you watch it again because I know you hated it.
You know what else is another good movie that's simultaneously sort of, I don't know if I'm supposed to laugh or be scared of it, is Society. Have you ever seen this film?
Yes.
Just kidding. I'm not kidding. Actually, it is kind of true.
It is. I actually watched it again because
you did say you watched it.
For those playing along,
yeah.
Our good friend Steve Steiner, fan of the show, fan of my old TV show. In fact, he was a fan of me before he met Jane, his wife.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's kind of scary.
It is, and so I assumed he was just stalking.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no other explanation.
I don't know if it was Red Letter Media or something. It talked up.
It was Red Letter Media. Yeah, that's right.
The movie Society.
Yeah.
Brian Yuzna film. Mm-hmm. So I think he bought it.
Yep, he cooked up a harebrained scheme.
And he brought it over and you and...
I think the six of us.
Yeah, Don and I, Jane and Steve, and you and Jackie.
Yeah.
We sat down to watch this, and we were just dumbfounded by the end of it.
But to me, I did watch it from that same perspective of, am I supposed to laugh or is this a nightmare? And it works perfectly there. I thought I really enjoyed it.
I did too. But
even while we were watching
everybody else had such a negative reaction to it.
Yeah.
That I thought, well, maybe either there's more to this than everybody thought, or there's less.
Yeah, true.
So I bought it myself and have watched it actually a couple times since, and it's very much like you're talking about, and it's very much a satire of class.
Oh, absolutely.
Differences and
there's
whatnot.
The title, the fact that they actually stuck with that title, that's the kind of title for a film like that where you'd say, well, this is what we're calling it.
Yeah.
But we're not going to really call it that when we put it out. It'll be called the working title. The fact that they stuck with it is very meaningful to me. And obviously, that's what it is.
Yeah.
A satire.
So Steve, you were wrong
yeah.
in your assessment.
Having said that, this is almost the same group that went to see The Trial, and look how that turned out.
Yeah.
Maybe we should just stop watching movies together.
Yeah.
All right, Will writes.
Well, we just shouldn't bring our spouses and friends.
Oh, no.
No, I'm not going to do it. Will writes.
Will writes. Probably right, though. Will writes, Ludwig's... See, can't tell. Am I hitting the mic when I try to look down? Should I take my glasses off again? Ludwig's making quite the assumption by saying he wants the brain of that child. That's a good point. This is the first he's seen of it.
Well, yes, but he did do the gesture, like pointing to her head and pointing to his.
Will has an answer for that.
Okay.
Maybe the monster was just pointing out how much bigger his fucking forehead is compared to hers.
Look at this.
And was pleading for Ludwig to reduce it during the operation.
Or make hers bigger.
Strange that cosmetic surgery is never on the agenda for these mad scientist types.
That's true.
What do you got? You got an answer for Will on that one?
Or maybe he wants her head bigger to be more like his.
That absolutely. That works too.
Yeah.
You're right. Well done, Will. Well done, Will. And that's it. Or I think. Or you know what? How much are we okay on time?
Yeah, we're good.
Because I got maybe should I do a YouTube comment?
Sure, let's do a YouTube comment.
All right, let's do a YouTube comment. Donald Motley writes, for episode 47, check out the slab in my lab. Do you ever say these out loud?
Yeah, well, I oftentimes I'll run them by Dawn. I'm like, is this terrible?
Oh, then you do them? Because they're all good.
Oh, okay.
I can imagine if someone thinks they're terrible, I always like them. Okay.
Sometimes it's just absolute desperation. Like, oh shit, he's got to upload this at midnight. So
Yeah,
I gotta
exactly.
do it now. Yeah.
Donald writes, where does midnight happen first? In the first, so I remember this.
Yeah, because we
figured this
we
out.
had
And I think
idiotic-
we figured it out in the episode. We thought of
we
it.
were like, duh.
Yeah. In the first time zone to the west of the international date line, hence the name. Oh, so we were wrong, because he says that is the time zone of New Zealand and is 180 degrees from the Greenwich, I almost said Greenwich meridian. So you literally could not have possibly been more wrong.
All right. You know what?
It's a good point. The international date line.
Now
of
he
course.
says that, yes. And I do remember
does
it being
make
in
sense.
New Zealand because when Y2K, when it changed to 2000, that was
Zealand
the
went
first
through it
place.
first?
And nothing happened. And then, every hour you would hear nothing happened.
Nothing happened here. Nothing happened here.
nothing
Okay,
happened.
good.
Like, so all you people who sold all your belongings and went off the grid, good luck to you.
I have an opinion on Y2K. And it's something that I've read on the internet or whatever, but
So somebody else's opinion.
yes, this was a problem, and people took it seriously and dedicated the resources to making sure that it would get fixed. Like, it's not like it was a dream. It's not like we made it up.
Yeah.
It actually was a problem that
Okay, all right.
people took care of.
Okay, so by the time...
I'm not arguing with you or anything.
No,
I'm just
no, no,
saying
no, no.
that's
Okay.
one thing about Y2K that I think people kind of forget is, it wasn't a problem because people fixed it.
Okay.
That's what the year 2000 was about. Was you hit 99, then all of a sudden 00 is now
00,
back in
yeah.
time, and the servers can't handle it. There was a potential there for
So
a big problem.
2000, whoops, out of time, was that...
That was it. Oh, look at look
See?
at that.
See?
Nicely done.
Thank you.
I couldn't be more proud. Well, I have a long comment here, but how are we doing on time?
No, we're good. Go ahead.
I mean, long.
Like,
It's from Alex Zorka.
oh, you want to save it for next week?
I
then?
do.
Okay.
Okay. Are we good on time then?
Yeah,
Did we
yeah,
good
yeah,
enough?
we're fine.
Who cares?
Yeah, whatever.
Like, did we still use the motto? Our listeners would
Just have to suffer. Yep.
Okay, good.
Over!